It's gonna be a real short day. I'm gonna get the oil pan installed. I did take the liberty of cleaning that gunk off, the old sludge that was on the girdle. I also was looking at the brand of water pump here. It was a GMB brand water pump. The biggest thing was the timing belt. Who makes this is US Motor Works. And I wound up looking on internet, and it seemed like eBay sells that stuff. So I'm gonna pull that off and swap it with what I assume to be a gate on the other engine. So as for right now, we're just gonna slap a oil pan gasket on here. That came in. Where's all this other stuff? I did clean the pan out, so that looks nice. Clean the pickup, and most of the stuff that was in here was glue, RTV sealant anyway. And so all this stuff looks a lot better. I took some brake cleaner and went at it. Where's that gasket set? That's what I got. I got a engine rebuild gasket set. So it came with all the main stuff, the head gaskets, all the top end stuff, new valve cover gasket and stuff, and some bottom end seals. So I can get these replaced. I'm gonna use just the main stuff I need. There's some things I'm just obviously not gonna change. And I know it sounds crazy, but I'm trying to tell you my luck sucks. I'm definitely going to change the balance shaft seal here and water pump gasket stuff. Not going to do anything with the oil pump or anything like that. Just the main stuff I'm pulling off. Balance shaft seal, water pump, because I'm going to change that to the other one. And then we got the gasket for the oil pump pickup down at the bottom. So let's just change. Where's the oil pan gasket? Hold on here. So the kit didn't come with an oil pan gasket. I swear it did, but it didn't. Either way, it is what it is. Let's go ahead and get this stuff thrown back on there. I'm about to run to the parts store and grab a gasket. I do believe this goes here. I'm just gonna have to run to O'Reilly's and grab a gasket. I'd imagine if it come with the complete engine gasket set, it's gonna come with the oil pan gasket. Flush right there. That was easy. And I'll pop this back. I remember some of the other ones had like a little guard that sat over it to keep it from backing out. You know, with the older ones. And this is coming off. Belt's gonna come off. So when I get the old engine out, well, the other motor, all this is gonna get transferred, and I might just leave the GMB water pump on there. I mean, like I haven't used that brand before, but definitely the belt, this is getting replaced with the other one because that's a lot better brand. What I got, Wendell O'Reilly's got an oil pan gasket, that is. I'm gonna throw this on here real quick because I need to run out somewhere to somebody's place. She's like an hour away, so let's get this popped on there. And I'm gonna clean the base of this pan out. We're good here. All the crap is out. And it's nice and tidy, so all the fresh oil that we put in there is gonna be nice and clean. Look how beautiful that looks in comparison to before. So now I gotta figure out which direction it go. Where am I? Here. Get some of the screws started. And then I'm gonna tighten it up in the X pattern. Some of the studs are missing out of here. Notice I'm not a huge fan of torquing anything down at 9 foot-pounds or something like that. It's 81 inches. So I'm just gonna hit it with the 1/4 inch after I run them in there and just snug them. And that'll be my torque to feel. My neighbor, I think he watched my videos, but he tried torquing something down at 9 foot-pounds and broke the bolt. And it's just pointless. There's nothing integral that supports 9 foot-pounds to where it's gonna require a torque wrench. Call me crazy, but what do I know? Take a small 1/4 inch, go in the X pattern, just snug it down. This is not an X pattern. But it's smashed so perfectly. Take a look at it. So look at that. No torque wrench, no anything. Torque to feel work just as fine. In this particular case, just a little bit of protrusion. Cool. We're good. All right, I'm gonna get the other motor out. So it's gonna be a flash for y'all, but many hours for me. I can get this. Oh, you know what? Let me hit it with some paint. put some makeup on a pig. That's exactly what I did. All right, it's gonna be a few days for me, but flash for y'all. Let me get this motor out and then we'll get this screwed around with. What y'all haven't been seeing was the overwhelming amount of purple power this car has been running on for the last like week or two. But I'm trying to do this last little flush so I can get all of the crap out, because it's bad. I mean, it's been eating oil and it's been horrible. So I'm trying to get what I can out, and then this motor's coming out. Then we can finally get it torn down and see specifically what's happening with this block. So let me do my thing, and we'll get our eyes on this crack, because I'm gonna look for it, trust me. So it's been about 3 hours later, somewhere around about that. I got the motor out, and we're facing each other. I did take the flex plate off. I am gonna change the crank seal on the other engine. This is, by the way, the damaged motor, and you can tell because of the retainer, the port for that is broken off, that bracket on the end of the block, and of course the new head gasket here. And, you know, I'm not a big fan of these composite gaskets because of how they just melt off onto the cylinder head here. So the new head gasket set does come with steel gaskets, and I did go with the Engine Tech gasket set this time. Let me show you something. The reason why I was going to change the original stuff over, this was a Honda water pump actually. Yeah, so that was shocking, and the time belt and balance shaft belt. So I'm going to change these, transfer it to the new motor, and other than that, one more thing. Hoses, they're going to get replaced because this one's in the back. Excuse me, this one's in the back here, and it's pretty hard to access. It feels a little soft, a little tender, so I am going to get that out. This one, I'm going to replace this one too. This goes to the idle air control valve, like a 5/16 hose. Let me show you something, because this car, like I was saying, this thing been running on nothing but purple power. That was the antifreeze for this car. Purple power was the antifreeze. So I'm pretty excited to see what happened when I pulled this stuff off, how well it worked, and if it actually rusted out the water pump or not. So we're going to take a look at that, and definitely tonight we're going to pressure test this and see specifically what happened, because I'm not going to bore you with the whole rebuild of another motor. That's just boring stuff. But for the next video, I definitely probably will get some clips of that in the first startup. But tonight we need to see specifically what taking place with this engine. So let me get this valve cover off. Let's get the head bolts out, separate this, and hopefully we can witness, how can I say this, something revolutionary, meaning that we can get a better understanding of what took place with this block. Because again, from the original video, I've had this happen once, but never really fully investigated what taking place. And I pressure tested the head on my own, and I still was like inconclusive. Well, I'm gonna pressure test this block. We're gonna get some answers tonight. Still looks beautiful in here. Take this off, take the time belt off. Take this off last. See how clean she is. Okay. Yeah, the purple power did pretty well. It didn't compromise the gasket like I thought it would. Let's take a gander. So the purple power did pretty well cleaning the inside of it out. The short-term flushing that I did do. It's been a couple hours, and I think I'm gonna leave some people disappointed. I've checked and checked and checked this block, and I cannot find where it would be leaking. The only logical thing is it will be leaking from a place of vulnerability, which would be ideally where the oil goes to the head. So I began to check obvious places. I mean, this is the only channel here that allows the oil to go through from here to the cylinder head. But what about the rest of the block? And I'm gonna get to that shortly. Logically, and just how physics work, I don't know anything that is semi-permeable with thick fluid entering a thinner fluid environment. So ideally, because it's hard for thicker fluid to pass through somewhere through a vulnerable place and enter a thinner fluid. Now the pressure makes sense because there's more pressure in the oil than it is the coolant. But at the same time, well, what about when the vehicle's off? It should make the inverse, should make the exchange. So the coolant should be able to enter the oil, especially with thermal expansion, with the block heating up. This is what's really, 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 really mind-boggling. And that's the only thing I'm like, maybe the block just needs to be decked. Okay, maybe the block needs to be decked. I did take a straight edge. I put it down somewhere. Oh, yeah, I took a straight edge there and went around this area where the bolt go for the cylinder head and here. You know, I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. And then, you know, we put a new head gasket on it. Here's the witness area here of the head gasket. But I mean, then again, since I took it off, it started bleeding in other areas. I'm not going to think about these external areas here where the oil goes back into the block. And again, because physics, I mean, it's a place of low pressure. We have to have high pressure entering a low pressure environment. So these right here, they are irrelevant. I'm not going to think nothing about it. A cracked cylinder wall, no, there was no compression issues. And if it was, I mean, it would have been very obvious. Coolant would have been entering here. And plus, it's a place of low pressure in the crankcase. So that's just out of the question too. So logically, the only thing I could think of, I pulled the oil pump out, and here's where oil enters, goes to the filter, and gets pushed up here to get distributed out to the head, and it would come through here. And from here, it just gets distributed through the block. But I blocked this off with the bolt. All right. So oil enters here, gets distributed out to the head and wherever else it meets in the center, and I block this off. So with this being blocked off, well, I started adding pressure through here, taking my finger and blocking it off here, filled the water jackets up, filled this up with water, pressure tested it, and I was looking for air just to bubble through here, and I didn't see anything. Okay, I'm like, maybe I need to heat the block up, you know. But I'm saying, like, if it's not watertight, which the water would be oil, then it shouldn't be airtight, you know. And this has 100 psi that I'm adding in here then just like what 60 psi, and it still did it at idle. But then again, the block was warm and oil was being introduced. So it could be a thermal expansion problem because now it's cold, it's tighter. But again, the transition should take place when the thermal expansion occurs and there's no oil pressure available. There's 14 psi in here with the vehicle off. And there's no oil pressure being built wherever this exchange is taking place. And this is just what's mind-boggling. And I'm like, I'm about to go nuts, man. I don't even know. The only other thing I could think of, maybe when you put the head on and you got the clamping force, maybe it's like some torsion taking place. So you got the head needing to be clamped down, and maybe it's pulling the block up, and wherever that fracture is still it's at its vulnerable point. I keep saying vulnerable. I don't know any other place because I mean it's the other words, because that's what it is. Wherever it's leaking from, it's a vulnerable spot. And maybe that's what's taking place. But again, with the vehicle off, the pressure risen in the coolant, it still should take place. Boy, oh boy. So now I'm worried again. I'm like, okay, what if the machine shop made an error and it's in the head? I'm going to find out, because I'm going to put that cylinder head onto the new block that did not have any of these issues. And if it is the case, well, I'm going to be doing the top end again. But I do have a head here. Okay, so worst case scenario, this head got to get remanufactured. And I just have to do the upper end again. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to fill this up with water again and show you what I was doing. Like I was saying, maybe I'm not doing enough pressure, but I was just putting air pressure through here, which goes through the filter, which goes through the balance shaft orifices. This gets lubed up. This balance shaft get lubed up. The crank get lubed up, and I'm just blocking it off. Air should have been, showing itself through bubbles in the coolant jackets here. And it's not. And again, I'm not thinking about the places of low pressure, because if hypothetically there's nothing here, there's no pressure, you probably got 1 psi of oil pressure. That's impossible for 1 psi to enter a place with 14 psi, 12, or anything more than that. That's just crazy. That's just not going to happen. So I think this block probably just needed to be decked, and that was what was taking place. And the block probably actually isn't compromised per se, because there's no other place where water is going to be besides in this region. And that's it, because this is remote. This is in the back. Looking at this area, oil enters here. Water pump is up in here. I thought maybe, it was probably getting behind the bearing of the balance shaft, but that's impossible. There's no pressure there because it bleeds off. And then again, that fluid exchange still should have taken place because of the coolant. Now, remember in the past videos, it was so incremental, and it was just gradually introducing itself, because they evidently, wherever it was coming from, it was competing forces, and the oil was just superseding it. It was just winning. So I don't know. I really don't know. Let's fill this up with water, and I'm going to show you what I was doing. So unfortunately, due to the orifices and the clearances, I'm not able to achieve normal oil PSI. Now I can tell you, if I put the gauge to this, it'll definitely supersede 15 PSI, but it's not it's not it's not able to achieve normal oil pressure. Um, I don't I don't think that really holds weight in this particular situation, simply because, again, if it's watertight, since it isn't watertight, it shouldn't be airtight, because it's air is thinner than a liquid, so it should have been able to show itself. And again, same thing. If there was an issue here, it should have been leaking inside the crank. That's why I went on here and filled the bolt holes up with water too, just in case. But there's nothing taking place here. Nothing at all. I honestly think, now that I was able to put my eyeballs on it, look at more places, tighter crevices and stuff. I mean, I really think this is probably a deck issue. I can't think anything outside the realms of that. Hell, because even if, here where the oil goes into this bolt hole to travel up into the cylinder head, same thing, same logic. It has to go, since the fluid is inside the head, it has to enter the oil jackets. I mean, it has to do that. Call me crazy, man. I don't know if it's worth, putting myself in a nut house trying to figure out if what I'm thinking is what I'm thinking, because I was really expecting to see a cracked block somewhere. What I'm gonna have to do, this is when I put the motor back together, get it back running, see what happens. If it's fixed, then I'm gonna have to get this block to the machine shop, just in exchange for, I can give them the cylinder head, because I can't do anything with that cylinder head. And just ask them, hey, can you check the deck of this engine, and see what he say. Because when I do, I'm gonna tear this down to the bare block. But again, I'm only going to be inspecting the crankcase, which only has about 2 psi at the most. It just doesn't have that much pressure, and this is what keeps the block cool right here. That's it. This, what you see inside of here, goes to the water pump, and that back out there. That's it. The oil pressure, again, is down in the back. It's essentially remote. Going back through here to the oil filter. This is the closest area here we have with the cooling system. Cooling system's remote. Oil feed is back here. Balance shaft is back here too. Man, I hate to say it. I'm kind of disappointed. All right, this is gonna be like part 7, but at least I got the motor out. I'm going to get everything built, put back together, and the next upload is just going to see the outcome. If it's still happening, y'all definitely going to know. I can't go any further right now for what I've done. I just got to do my part, get this motor back together and back in like 2 days, because I got a bunch of other jobs and stuff I got to take care of. But yeah, I mean, I'm if I did something wrong, hell, I really need some sort of suggestions, because I don't think I could have done anything else. I went to the necessary ports where oil is going to be channeled, added pressure, and it didn't show itself. Yeah, I would definitely take feedback. All right. Well, look, if anything happened, you know I'm gonna definitely update. But hit that link, subscribe channel, stay informed, how to rush on my work. See you next one. Had to get a little creative. I said maybe it's a volume issue, so I took the male end for my air cup, drilled it out, and just forced it in there. It's aluminum. I'm gonna take the anti-drain back portion out the oil filter, and we're gonna try this again. I'm gonna drill those out. Ain't no excuse now. So I got all volume, no hold back. So I'm just gonna have to use my knee to hold this in. That's going straight to the oil pump. Block this off and let's see what happens. That's 90 PSI right there. And it still ain't leaking. Still ain't leaking. So that's no excuse.